Rockman.
Gear up. Great.
Let's focus on the mission.
Can we even call this a mission? We're gonna be on the ground for like 20 minutes.
Do you take anything seriously?
No.
There's a brand new movie opening this weekend, Friday, January 31st, and I've seen it, and I know you're going to like it, and I want you to see the trailer. Take a look.
Rockman.
Gear up. Great.
Let's focus on the mission.
Can we even call this a mission? We're gonna be on the ground for like 20 minutes.
Do you take anything seriously?
No.
We have multiple dead, multiple wounded. We need a medevac right now!
They can't get us. We're in North Korea. So you're gonna have to get these people out of here.
Sir, respectfully, I'm trained to analyze data, not this.
Right now, you're the leader. So you gotta be that for them and for yourself. Don't let it end here.
We are going deeper into North Korea. Following a guy who has no idea what he's doing.
No matter how hard it gets, you stick your chest out.
No.
You keep your head up, and you handle it.
Is that supposed to be a pep talk?
It's Tupac.
Should we say fast?
Rockman, behind us.
You all seem pretty smart. Why choose this?
Where I come from, there just isn't a lot of options.
Our country has given me so much, and I wanted to give back.
We're almost there.
Contact run! Go! I'll buy you some time!
Let's go home.
As you saw, it's exciting, it's exhilarating, it's a military-based film, takes place in Korea, and the director of the movie, Steve Barnett, joins us right now. Valiant One is the movie, and, well, first of all, sir, congratulations on this movie. It really is sort of like, there's a couple of respites where the action takes a breather, and I appreciate that because I needed the breather, but the pace is phenomenal in this movie.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your kind words. Yeah, it was a real challenge to make the movie. It took us a while, but once we got up to Vancouver and we worked with that Canadian crew and my cast, my producers, everybody involved made it a really worthwhile experience.
You know, it's one of those things where I really don't want to give away any spoilers, but I think I can say in a rough sketch here, this is a army mission in Korea. It goes horribly wrong, and U.S. soldiers find themselves behind enemy lines in North Korea. Very dangerous situation. And it says that this is based on true events. Can you sort of flesh that out for a little bit? What exactly inspired this?
Yeah, totally. I want to make sure there's a clarification though. It's inspired by, so based on is a whole different thing. So yeah, a Navy SEAL buddy of mine, we reconnected at my high school reunion. His name's Todd Sharbut. We ran into each other, and it was the typical, what are you up to? What are you up to? And he's like, I'm a Navy SEAL. And I was like, oh, my head exploded. I was like, dude, we got to grab some coffee. I'm a huge supporter and fan of our men and women in uniform. And to hear him say that got me excited because I love hearing the stories. I grew up on these kinds of films, and I'm always, as a producer, I'm always searching for good ideas. So he mentioned this incident that happened in a helicopter over the South Korean DMZ border, and they hit weather and they got pushed all the way into the DMZ. And it was a pretty hardcore moment for him as a Navy SEAL. He's seeing danger on every mission, and this was a routine mission. and he thought, this is it. This is the moment I die. But the helicopter pilot was able to pull them out and bring them back to base. And I said to him, I go, well, what would happen if you guys did crash in the DMZ, or even worse, in North Korea? He said, first of all, it's a very real possibility, and a very terrible outcome, because there's no way to send in troops to rescue you in that area. So he said we'd have to figure our way out. And that was kind of the incident that inspired me to go forward with this. I went and got a screenwriter named Eric Tipton, who's a good friend, and partnered up with Bernie Goldman, who was a producer I did 300 and Land of the Dead with back in the day. And we started developing it. So that was the origin story.
That's amazing. And given that that's what you had to work with to sort of inspire it, it really did sort of, you fleshed out a really thrilling drama. And I loved one element of it. It's bad enough being an American soldier caught in North Korea. That would be horrible. One of the soldiers, I don't think I'm spoiling much, is a third generation Korean American. And very quickly, he sort of emphasizes to his comrades there that if he gets caught, it's going to be 10 times worse for him. And not only does that show the brutality of the North Korea regime, but it also shows you the amazing aspect of what America is, and the fact that a Korean American he's just one of our soldiers, one of our guys wearing green. But in the eyes of other countries, he's very different. And I sort of love that very subtle message about what makes America so special and so unique.
Oh, there's no question. And you see it in every way when you look at our men and women in uniform. It's an incredibly diverse group of people who all come together and adopt a culture that is necessary for them to do their jobs, and that's military culture. And back to Todd Sharbett, the Navy SEAL buddy who inspired this. It was important to me and truly a gift to be able to have him as a producer on the movie and be with us every single day through pre-production all the way through production, to show the cast and the crew really that culture and help them understand how these folks talk to each other, how they move with these weapons, how they move with a huge, backpack filled with gear, but also down to the details of the uniforms, how the patches are worn, the direction of the flag on the shoulder. It was cool having him there every single second of the day, so much so that, I'm not kidding. I probably said this 10, 15 times a day. Let's ask Todd, because the actors would have questions about specific military stuff. I'd say, where's Todd? Let's ask Todd. So we got him a T-shirt he wore on the last day that said, let's ask Todd.
That's great. And by the way, after speaking with a lot of people who have been in combat and fought at the highest level like you're describing, one thing that seems to be a common denominator is the banter, the dialogue, the sort of messing with each other and sort of trying to inject humor into very unhumorous situations. That seemed very authentic too.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a big part of it. These folks are the best. They're the best among us. They really are. And, when they're thrown into a situation like that, they always say humor's the best medicine. So there's a bit of that throughout. It's not a comedy at all, but, it definitely has moments of humor that gives you a little bit of a breath of fresh air.
I want to ask you a bit about your new venture, Monarch Films, and sort of the projects you're working on. This is one of them, because this is not by definition a faith-based film necessarily, but there's a certain scene where the Lord's Prayer is used in an incredibly tense situation. And it's very dramatic, it's very moving, and very effective. And it struck me as I was watching that scene, Steve, that we don't see characters in movies praying very often. And we used to, but we did here. And because of that, it was effective. Like I said, it's not a faith-based film, but that moment of faith really hit home.
Yeah, look, there's that old saying, there's no atheists in a foxhole, right? That was probably, I don't know who created it, but it was probably a soldier in a foxhole. It was an important moment for me. I'm a believer. I have faith, and I know that one of the things about military culture is faith is a big part of it. So it was important to me to drop that in. And when we constructed this thing, we needed to get soldiers away from the wreckage, and we had one who's pinned down, and it felt like the perfect moment for that soldier to have that moment between himself and his God. So it was a cool moment to shoot, and boy, it was fun to edit.
And incredibly well performed as well. The actors are great across the board, and what I really loved about the character development in these actors is a lot of times when you see a big war hero movie, you sort of figure out who's going to be the hero, they already sort of exemplify it, personify it at the beginning. They're these sort of not this movie. The people who become the heroes. They find something within themselves. Either it's their training or their character or the way their parents raise them. Not sure, but you as the director sort of seize that moment where you can see the valor rise to the top, and that was moving. I loved the way you did that.
Oh man, thank you. That is an awesome compliment. I really appreciate that. It was important, when you're doing any kind of hero journey, a reluctant hero journey. The moment where they recognize the hero inside of them needs to really pop off the screen. And I was lucky to have amazing actors in this film. Chase Stokes is awesome. Lana Condor her performance in this is amazing. Des Borges, Daniel June, Jonathan Weitzel, Cal Mulvey. I'm a lucky man to have the team that we had on this film.
By the way, I gotta say, again, it goes to the actors, but there's something in their eyes where you almost get this feeling, inner monologue, that it's like, well, no one else is going to step up and do this. I guess it's got to be me. And I have no doubt that that's reality. I have no doubt that some of the most heroic moments just come because, well, I guess it's got to be me.
Yeah, and imagine if and this is really the setup of the movie. Imagine if you were never even supposed to be on this mission, but somehow you outrank everyone, and now you're in charge. That was a cool idea that we came up with. The idea of this tech soldier who's kind of indifferent to his world and just kind of counting the days until he's going to get out of there and go to Silicon Valley. And this is a major speed bump along the way, and one that he needed as a human. He needed to learn that he is a leader and he shouldn't be afraid of leading, especially when it comes to making life or death decisions for himself and the people around him.
We're pretty patriotic here on our program. Our audience is patriotic. I make no mystery about my faith and my belief in God. That's how I knew that people would love Valiant One. We really wanted to bring it to our audience's attention. But at the same time, people like me, people like our audience, we lament that these movies are few and far between. We lament that Hollywood does not create as much product that speaks to us, which is weird to me because I think Hollywood would do very well. We've seen movies that are quite successful when, in fact, you get that unicorn moment. So that's why I'm really interested to learn more about Monarch Films, because that's sort of what you're trying to do. That's what you're able to do now with your new production house.
Yeah, we've been doing this for about 5 years. We've made a bunch of different kinds of movies. Obviously, you can see it right there in the corner. Hitman was our last film to come out. That was on Netflix. Also, not a faith-based film at all. In fact, rated R and pretty edgy at times. But I think one of the things for our company, and I'll tease out a few projects that are in production right now because we're very excited about them, is I think there's a common thread that it's the underdog story. We like that story, and that's Valiant One perfectly. I mean, it's an underdog story. Hitman was an underdog story. I think if you saw A Week Away, that was as well, and so was Journey to Bethlehem. So that seems to be the common thread. Now, all of them are different. They're very different movies. A couple of those are musicals. Obviously, Hitman's a dark comedy. And coming up, we have an animated film that we're very, very excited about that stars Julie Louis-Dreyfus, Seth Rogen, Bryan Cranston, Abby Jacobson, Wanda Sykes, Sarah Silverman, Bowen Yang. I mean, I could go on because the cast is incredible. And that one is also sort of an underdog story, but it's a dark comedy, a sophisticated comedy about what happens to a family when the matriarch in that family experiences dementia and Alzheimer's. So, that's a family reunification and family bonding movie as they work through that situation. We have another TV series that we're doing with Angel Studios, who did The Chosen and Sound of Freedom, called Testament, which is incredibly ambitious retelling of the Book of Acts. But it's set in a sort of alternate contemporary world. So seeing that storyline up against a world that we sort of recognize as our own, at least a little bit, is really really cool. So I'm excited for everyone to see it.
I'm going to be honest. I'm interested. Acts of the Apostles is my favorite book in the Bible. Actually, I read it often, and I saw that you were working on this project. Didn't know it was in an alternate contemporary universe. I am skeptical, but I'm interested and open to see what you do with it.
You should be. Look, we're always up for a challenge, right? I mean, that's an ambitious, kind of crazy version of that story, but yeah, it's coming together pretty nicely. So I can't wait for you guys to see it and weigh in for better or worse.
Holy Scripture sort of transcends its time and place, certainly. So I think it could be very cool and effective. Well, listen, thank you for making this film. Congratulations on the film. I hope it has a great weekend. It is obviously a love letter to our military, and especially given the events in Washington, D.C. with the tragic Black Hawk helicopter collision with the passenger jet. It's a reminder that, we keep hearing about. I have a daughter in the military, and she keeps telling me, oh, we're doing a routine thing. There's nothing routine in the military. Nothing is routine. And a tragedy can happen at any moment. That's why they're the best of the best. So I appreciate you honoring them with Valiant One.
And I thank her for her service. That's pretty special.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it, Steve. I really appreciate it, and congratulations on the film.
Thank you so much. You have a good day.